At 8:48 a.m., the ship began to turn. Not sharply, not suddenly, just enough to feel wrong. Inside the cabins, students felt their feet slide. Phones slipped off desks, water bottles rolled, someone laughed. No alarms went off, no evacuation order was given, and no one on board knew this simple truth. The ship was already dying. Welcome back to Noxora, where we break down history's darkest disasters, the decisions that caused them, and the truths that were never meant to surface. Today, this is not a story about the sea. It's a story about authority, obedience, and what happens when adults fail children and walk away. This is the MV Sewol. April 16th, 2014. Off the coast of South Korea, the MV Sewol, a passenger ferry, is traveling from Incheon to Jeju Island. On board, 476 people, 325 high school students on a school trip, teachers, crew, and regular passengers. The sea is calm, visibility is good, nothing suggests danger. But the ship isn't what it's supposed to be. Months earlier, Sewol had been illegally modified, extra cabins added, weight limits ignored, cargo stacked far beyond safety regulations. The ship was top-heavy, unstable, a floating gamble. At the helm that morning is not the experienced captain, it's a third mate, less trained, handling a complex turn through a narrow channel. At 8:48 a.m., the order is given, a sharper turn than usual. Cargo shifts. Water enters. The ship lists. Inside the cabins, students begin calling parents. One text reads, "Mom, the ship is tilting, but they told us to stay where we are." Here's the moment everything breaks. Instead of ordering an evacuation, the crew makes an announcement. They tell passengers to stay put. Remain in your cabins, it's safer there. That message is repeated again and again. Students listen because they were raised to. Minutes pass, the tilt worsens. Water floods stairwells, doors jam. And then, quietly, without announcement, the crew begins evacuating themselves. The captain leaves the ship. He does not issue an evacuation order. He does not return to help. He steps onto a rescue boat while hundreds are still inside. Coast Guard arrives. They see people at windows. They do not board. Helicopters hover, recording footage as the ship continues to roll. Inside, students send final messages. "Please save us. I'm scared. I love you." By 10:17 a.m., the Sewol capsizes completely. 304 people die, most of them teenagers. For a long time, people believed this happened too fast, that once the ship began to tip, nothing could be done. That's not true. The MV Sewol took over an hour to sink. An hour where doors still opened. An hour where staircases existed. An hour where evacuation was possible. Inside the ship, students sat on slanted floors. They stacked bags against walls to stop themselves from sliding. Some sang quietly, some prayed, some filmed. One student recorded a message. "If we survive, this will be a memory. If we don't, please remember us." Teachers told students to stay calm, because that was the instruction. Stay put. Wait. Parents watched the news in real time. They saw helicopters hovering. They saw rescue boats circling. They assumed help was happening. Inside the ship, water reached knee level, then waist level. Lights flickered. Phone signals began to drop. Messages turned shorter. "Mom, I'm scared." Some students tried to move anyway. They were pushed back by water, by darkness, by the belief that obeying was safer than acting. And here's the detail that never leaves people. Many victims were found wearing life jackets. They did what they were told. They were ready to be saved. South Korea is devastated, but grief quickly turns into anger. Why was evacuation delayed? Why was the cargo illegal? Why did rescue take so long? Investigations begin. Some answers surface, many don't. Officials are blamed, then protected. Evidence disappears. Families push back, demanding truth, not apologies. And here's the part that still chills people today. Survivors say evacuation was possible. Rescue boats had space. Time existed. What didn't exist was leadership. The captain survives. He's later sentenced to life in prison. But many believe that accountability stopped far too early. Because ships don't kill people, decisions do. And the most dangerous lie ever told that morning was not that help was coming. It was, stay where you are, you'll be safe. The MV Sewol is no longer underwater. But the questions it left behind still are. This wasn't a natural disaster. It was a chain of human choices, made slowly, ignored repeatedly, and paid for by people who trusted the system. Stories like this don't end when the wreck is raised. They end only when they're remembered. If you believe these stories matter, if you believe accountability begins with attention, subscribe to Noxora. Like the video, share it with someone who should hear it. Because silence is how tragedies repeat. I'll see you in the next one. Stay where you are. You'll be safe.